Today's controversial topic is brought to you by NB. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But seriously, it is a controversial topic that is here in Sweden that I'm going to talk about today. And it's about the closet racism that happens here. But it's not for no reason. And I get it. And it's about the immigration problems we have here and the drug problems that are arising and the gang problems that are arising and just crime in general. And the fact that there are a lot of people that seek asylum here and just live off the government. And the government doesn't set any kind of stipulation to that. And I think that's a big problem. I think if you are coming in from another country seeking asylum, granted, there are people that are coming here that are, completely traumatized. That's a whole nother thing that they need to get well before. But those seeking asylum that are just getting money from the government need to have some kind of stipulation on, they must go to classes to learn the language. They have to apply for jobs and try to get off government, funded money. And nobody says anything. And it's kind of like bubbling under the surface that, more crime is happening, and it's caused a lot by people that immigrated here. I mean, we had recently the whole Quran burning. I know that there was a couple let in recently that was planning on killing Jews. There's been, a skyrocket in drug and, gang relations. There's been a lot of violent crimes, rapes, things like that. And I feel like, and I'm an immigrant myself, but if you come to a country that, actually opens their arms to you and you commit these crimes, you should be sent back. You shouldn't be sitting here in a cushy prison, living off the taxpayers' money. You should be sent back. I'm sorry. It's the one thing that people dare not say here. And I completely understand, and I'm an immigrant myself, but I learned the language. I went to school here. I've worked in the healthcare sector. I've been trying to save Swedish people's lives for, almost a decade now. And I do speak the language, and I don't understand how you can live here for, 5 years, 10 years and not speak a lick of Swedish. It doesn't make any sense. And it's because nobody forces you to. It's like Swedish culture is terrified of being deemed racist. So instead of having the person acclimate to the surroundings, they feel like we or this society has to acclimate around them. And that doesn't make any sense. And it's setting people up for failure, I think, in the end, because how are you going to get a job when you don't speak the language or, there are, or even English, some of them don't know English or Swedish. I mean, you could get by getting an English speaking job, and Swedes do love to speak English when they can. And that was one of the reasons why it was a little harder for me in the beginning to learn Swedish, because they would hear my accent and then immediately respond in English, which, it's friendly, of course, but it's what they call here a björntjänst. It's helpful, but not helpful in the same way. And I did have it a little easier knowing German, and German and Swedish are very similar. But back to the point. I think there needs to be something done. I think people need to start speaking up. I think the last vote we had spoke volumes without having to say anything, out loud. It was kind of anonymous. There was a lot of people voting for what they call the racist party, and it's due to these issues. I don't think it's because Swedish people are like, you dirty immigrant, you dirty Muslim, or anything like that. It's more the fact of it's not controlled, like how and who they let in. And once they're let in, the fact that they don't have to, bust ass to actually contribute to society. And I get it. I pay the taxes. They're very high. And I'm thankful, for it, because it does give people health care and things that they do need, like my cancer treatments and everything, my radiation. I'd be so bankrupt right now if it wasn't for me being a Swedish citizen and living here. So I am thankful. Like, I understand that the taxes are so high, but the problem is there are people taking advantage of it. And that's where the problem lies. And I think, if you're an asylum seeker and then you go on vacations yearly back to your country that you're terrified to live in because you say you're going to be shot or killed or whatever, that doesn't make any sense. I know you guys are thinking it. I know people have said it, but nobody dares to say it out loud. And maybe, yeah, if people started to, which they kind of did when we did our last vote, they did anonymously kind of say these things I'm saying out loud, but they wouldn't dare to say them out loud in public or anything like that. And I feel like that's just leading to an implosive problem where it's going to boil over and explode. And I just think it's not racist to say these things. And I myself am an immigrant. It's not racist to feel like you're being taken advantage of. It's not. It's just fact. And if you seek asylum and are getting, just living off the government, you shouldn't be going back to that country that you're so terrified of. I mean, I'm sorry, but then it's like you're not really seeking asylum. You're coming here because you want a better life, and that's a different story. But since the culture is so terrified of being deemed racist, they're just kind of opening up the gates for anyone to come in, and that's a huge problem. There's also a lot of cases of people not having any papers and claiming that they're children when you can clearly tell they're like 25 or 27, 30, something like that. But they have no way of proving it because they have no papers. And it's just, I feel like I get a lot of stares sometimes, or people react towards me because I'm an immigrant as well. But like I said, I'm an immigrant that did learn the language, that has been working, and even went back to work earlier than my doctor recommended because I love to work. I love my job. And so everyone is lumped into this one thing, like all immigrants are the same. And that's not the case. There are some really, really hardworking immigrants here, myself included, that don't want to be lumped in with the rest that are taking advantage. And that's the problem. And I think Sweden needs to man up and actually put stipulations on when you come here, you need to do this and this and this, and try to integrate into society. And I think people that commit, violent, heinous acts should be sent back. I mean, if you're extended a hand, open welcome, and you smack that hand away, then you don't deserve it. You should be appreciative of all that you're given here. And I was too, and I am. Like, I would be completely fucked if I was in the US and had cancer. So I am thankful, but I want to see if people actually react to this. I very much doubt it because people are in such fear of it, but I think it's a topic that needs to be talked about. So we'll see. I hope some people do actually speak up or tell me their opinions on the matter.